Such a peaceful world we are living today, surrounded by lovely family and friends. However, there are someone out there suffer in silence. Did you know that in 2018, there were 480 rape cases reported from January to October, and in the next year, the cases increased to 491 cases. Plus, these are the cases will only involve teenagers, which are including students. Just think about it for a moment. There are at least one teenager being raped every day. And we are talking about the reported cases. How about the unreported cases? It can be double or even triple the cases. You might not be realize it, but this is the truth. This is what happening right here, right now. It can be our neighbors, our friends, or even worse, our own family members. The situation became worse when an estimated 18,000 underage girls get pregnant every year. And experts saying enough is enough. We've been warned by the numbers year by year, and the government has suggested an initiative to reduce the cases by implementing sex education. When the news spread, believe it or not, myself, doesn't agree with the implementation, as I thought it would make the situation worse. But I changed my mind after I discovering the truth about this system. It's not easy for me to accept it at the first place, but the truth will remain the truth, and I can't change anything about it. That's when I decide to accept this system. So, what sex education can do with it? Doesn't it just make the situation worse? Because it teach our teenagers about sex? Actually not. Here, I will tell you the false assumption about the system, and I will persuade you to accept the implementation of the sex education. Before we go further, let we see why the public go insane when the idea spread. First of all, it's because the term sex used in this module. When the public saw the term sex, out of sudden, they thought it will be content all about sex, which I can say it is not their fault, because I was thinking the same either. But the worst thing is when they act like they know what in it. When they said this education just teach how to do sex, the best time to do sex, the best position when doing it, and all about sex where the scopes are limited to only about doing sex. The society who doesn't agree with the implementation have to realize that this is about sex education and not porn education. This is the level of our society's mentality. But there's no less group who understand and support this implementation. Well, we can't blame the public entirely, as they're only being informed about this idea by the media. When the first time our government suggested to implement sex education in our system, the news was rapidly spread, especially through the social media. So what's wrong with it? It's the title. The media always using bombastic, intense title to attract more readers. Yes, it is good, but sometimes the title can be misleading, as many of the readers only read the title without opening and read the actual articles. Enough blaming others. Now, open up your Google and look forward what this sex education is all about. Still has no idea yet? Here, let me briefly explain what it is all about. So, what do they learn? Here is some of them. As the ex-Deputy Education Minister Tioni Cheng said, the education is needed to enable students to learn about rape from the perspective of law. I repeat, from the perspective of law. And she also mentioned that it is important as teenagers will begin to experience puppy love when they are aging. So it is important for them to learn about statutory rape and how consensual rape or how consensual sex can be considered as a crime when it is involved girls under 16 years old. Plus 2, this syllabus will also tell how some conversations can be lead to sexual harassment and how they should react to it. Actually, we have already implemented it and we actually implement it without our realizing it. How can it be related with our culture? For answering this, I would like to have you as audience to clear all your minds thinking about sex. What I want to tell is, in perspective of religion, as example, Muslim myself, Islam taught us to take care of ourselves even among our family members. There are limits in our interactions and our relationship. What I'm trying to say is, even though they are our sisters, our siblings, our brothers, cousins, or even our parents, we have to know the limit when we interact with them. For examples, in Islam, we call it ihtilat, but in sex education, we use this term safe touch. For example, when a daughter grown up, there are certain body parts that are forbidden to touch by their father and their brothers. When it came to certain age, siblings with different gender are not allowed to sleep together. It is important to ensure that they're not normalizing this kind of interaction. Plus, did you know, the reality is teenagers have already exposed to sex at schools but in educational ways. Here I want you all just think about it for a while. In our education system itself, students are taught about sex organs when they are 15, from 3 to be specific. When they have to face SPM, they've learned about it even further in biology subjects, as they must know how the organs work, what is the hormone involved, and how women's menstruation cycle affect ovulation and many more. And yet, no one criticized it for years. So, why we must criticize sex education as the objective of this subject is one, to ensure teenagers to know their rights and to respect themselves more. You thought those existing syllabus are enough? Here, let me share with you a story about an underage girl who got pregnant when she was 17 years old. Yes, you heard me right. While her friends were studying for SPM, a girl known as Mariam was about 6 months pregnant at the same age. The first time she asked to have sex with her boyfriend, she said that she doesn't know how to say no, even though she was not ready for it. So she relented. Mariam also said that she doesn't thought that she was pregnant. That's why she never insists on condom. According to Vimi Yasmin, a founder of Rumah Kita, Mariam's story is not uncommon, as according to her experience, most teenagers have sex without thinking the result of pregnancy. She also said that there is no true sex education in school, and when in secondary school, they teach sex in biology. It's too technical and academic and not really helpful to understand what happens when you have sex, which are true. So we can conclude that it actually depends on us to determine we want our teenagers learn about sex in educational ways in school, or just let them learn or explore it from older strangers. As my words has come to the end, now it's time to change your mind. In closing, I persuade you to study further about sex education. We need to be more open-minded and stop viewing sex education as a way of encouraging sex activity, but rather as a preventive measure against unwanted pregnancies. For teenagers out there, please love yourself more. Appreciate yourself more. Know your positions. Your virginity is reward for marriage. don't turn it into some kind of birthday present of any anniversary. For those who have already done it, don't feel bad because everyone makes mistakes. But the difference between sinners is how we react toward it. As long as you're breathing, they will always hope they may change your life better. As Confucius once said, our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall. That's all from me. See you next time.